Joining us now, RBC Capital Markets analyst Rishi Jaluria. Rishi, it's great to have you on. First, set this up with why MongoDB in particular and some related software companies have been under so much pressure and why the street thinks some of that pressure is coming off now.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much for having me. Look, the story over the past, I would say, 6 weeks has been, is software dead? Is, the ability to build applications using GPT-5 or some of these platforms like Lovable mean that there's just no barriers to entry and everyone's just going to custom build their own software? I think that bear case has maybe cooled down a little bit as a little bit of reality has set in. But, for that's really been the concern, is just that there really aren't barriers to entry anymore. There's going to be a lot more competition, and maybe even the software paradigm as we know it is shifting away. Now, I'm a very big believer that we're going to shift from kind of prepackaged SaaS applications to multi-agentic systems, where maybe the surface interaction is natural language, but that still provides a really good opportunity for a lot of these names that can invest aggressively in AI, in the AI opportunity, and I would put MongoDB as one of those. And MongoDB really feels like they're just getting started in AI.
I mean, the sort of simple math that the CEO just laid out in terms of, well, we have a market we're addressing of 100 billion. We're at 2%. If we get to 5%, I mean, it sounds easy, but is that plausible in the way of its penetration from here?
I think it is. I think we have to take a very granular look in terms of how we think about the actual database market, because there's so many different pieces in here. There's structured database. You think about Oracle and Postgres. There's data warehousing like the likes of Snowflake and Databricks. But if I were to kind of maybe even more conservatively size MongoDB's TAM, I do think, even without the AI tailwinds, just the modernization of applications, the migration to the cloud, the explosion of unstructured data, I think those are enough tailwinds on their own to get MongoDB to eventually become a $5 billion revenue company. Then you start to layer in, the rationale that net new AI applications, especially those leveraging, unstructured data, will need a database like MongoDB, and that could actually all be really additive on that. We've already seen some AI natives start to use MongoDB, including Cursor, Relevance AI. I saw there's been a handful of them that you see are starting to use them in a real way.
So what other companies do you think might be better positioned, as you suggest MongoDB is, in this world? Because it feels as if you're still going to have this uncertainty about certain pockets of software and how sustainable their edge is.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think for another play on the data side, our software team at RBC, we like Snowflake. Being able to action on your data, get the context, leverage both structured and unstructured data. That's a name that our team likes a lot. In application software land, that's actually where the most pain has been felt. I actually think HubSpot is a name I really like a lot here. It feels like they have a really innovative AI roadmap. They have the ability, I think, to leverage AI to maybe narrow the gap versus them and other incumbents and turn into a share gainer. And their conference is actually next week, and we think that could be a potential non-earnings catalyst for that name.
Interesting. Yeah, that one is just about 1/2 off of its high, so potential room for catch up there. Rishi, thanks very much. Got to leave it there.